I would say what? 5 guys can get you 20 points in a game?
I know people will say it's, only one guy. I don't believe that, Coach, that, one guy, those days are over, in my opinion. Like, a Bill Russell, a Wilt Chamberlain.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
You're going a little deep bomb hunting here. We don't care that we have the one heavy favorite with Rory, a couple other guys like Fleetwood and Tagala, etc. You're going to go a little deeper down the board.
This course, I think, is going to play a little bit more to the wedges. They have, what they did is they've renovated it to basically block off some of the bombing alleys for these guys. They've narrowed the fairways.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
And welcome in a very happy Friday to you now, November the 22nd. It is Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by as we get ready for a absolutely loaded weekend in the world of sports. And heck, even tonight, we've got a loaded slate when you take into consideration these multiple team tournaments that are happening in college basketball right now. We've had college hoops happening all day long. We'll have it happening all night long, culminating in a pretty darn good matchup with Duke and Arizona coming up a little bit later tonight. Not to mention, of course, we are also going to have a continuation in the Bahamas of what we saw last night with the Baylor Bears outlasting the Johnnies of St. John's in double overtime. And their reward for that is having to take on a Tennessee team that absolutely suffocated the Virginia Cavaliers. So Baylor, Tennessee, that game coming up a little bit later. And I'm looking forward to this one here. I think there is a lot of value with Tennessee in this game, given that Baylor's got some issues. And we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. But it is a huge weekend in college basketball. It's a huge weekend in college football as well, as week 13 of the season is off and running. We've already had some great MAC action games earlier this week, but we got plenty to be excited about here tonight as Temple will be taking on UTSA, a little Conference USA there. Plus, we've got Purdue getting ready to take on Michigan State at Spartan Stadium. Michigan State laying 2 touchdowns. And then, of course, tonight on the West Coast, we've got in San Jose, California, the UNLV Running Rebels getting ready to take on San Jose State in what should be maybe the highest scoring game of the evening, but we'll have to see, as UTSA, San Antonio, usually doesn't play in a whole lot of defensive battles there. So we got college football tonight. We've got college basketball. We got the coach, James Young. He'll be coming up here in just a few. We'll talk about week number 2 of the NBA Cup with I believe, a 9-game slate here tonight, and I have no idea why the Philadelphia 76ers are taking money, and I have no idea who thinks it's a good idea to lay points with them as they are at home taking on the Brooklyn Nets here tonight. So we got plenty of NBA action to go over, plenty of college football tonight, college basketball, only 2 games on the ice tonight as the NHL had a loaded 10-game slate last night. And then, of course, we're all getting ready for week 12 of the NFL season, as we have got all sorts of Friday news coming out of the National Football League. And we'll start with the announcement earlier that the New York Giants, well, we knew they benched Daniel Jones earlier this week. However, he was expected after that benching to remain a backup until the team essentially moved on from him in the offseason. However, the Giants wasted no time and thought, why put off tomorrow with what you can do today? And the Giants, well, they just gave him his conditional release. They let him go. Kind of hard to believe, but yep, their former number 6 overall pick has been released from the team immediately. And the Giants said that Daniel Jones had asked for his release and that the team would absolutely grant his request. Now, he is going to head to waivers. It still remains very unlikely that he will be claimed because, well, he's got a 4-year, $160 million contract that he signed in March of last year. Now, the Giants and, of course, the Giants president, John Mara, trying to spin this on what a great player he was and how it was wonderful to have him on a team and yada, yada, yada. That's all fine and dandy. But he did, good old Daniel Jones, break his silence about the benching yesterday, saying that, well, basically it was an honor to play for the franchise, and he took responsibility for the fact that, you know, there were more lows than highs over the past 6 years. Now, that is great, but the writing was kind of on the wall. It's been on the wall for quite a while. So the one thing that we do know is that Tommy Cutlets will be under center this weekend for the New York Giants as they are at home taking on the Tampa Bay Bucks. Both of these teams coming out of a bye week. And you got to ask yourself with this Giants organization, can somebody please explain to me why it is that you went out and signed Drew Lock, gave him a contract, and had him listed as the number 2 backup quarterback to Danny Dimes all year long? Only when you actually make the move to bench Danny Dimes, you decide that it's the emergency quarterback, the number 3 quarterback on the roster. That is who you decide to go with here for the remainder of the season. And the only thing that I can come up with, because none of it makes any sense, is that the Giants are simply hoping that Tommy Cutlets moves the needle for them. They have 4 remaining games in December here at home. And I don't know about you, I am fairly certain Giant fans aren't going to hop in the car, not going to throw on 14 layers of clothes to go to MetLife to freeze to root on Drew Lock. However, I think the Giants realized last year that Tommy Cutlets does at least move the needle with the fan base. And if they can get anything out of him, then there's a pretty good chance that a lost season, which is exactly what this is, can still be a profitable one, certainly at the gate, if he can deliver anything that looks close to mediocrity. They think that'll be a good thing. So to me, this is all about placating and hopefully placating the fan base, thinking that this is the guy, not necessarily that gives them the best chance to win the game, but gives them the best chance at the ticket window to sell more seats and get more butts in the stands. That still remains to be seen. The bottom line for me is I don't think they have a shot of winning this game against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I also don't think they have a shot of getting this game to go over 41.5 points. So I was on the early line this morning with Ben Stevens, and this was my under of the weekend here. I just don't see how 2 defensive teams, and the Giants, for all their faults offensively, They have a very competitive defense. And with 2 weeks to prepare, we know Todd Bowles, his teams always defensively are better suited here. I don't like the cold, wet weather, windy at MetLife here, and Baker Mayfield and company, even with Mike Evans supposed to be back in the lineup, not buying it. I do think this has got 21-10 written all over it, and that is why I'll be playing the under in that game on Sunday. But Danny Dimes, not the only one in the topic of conversation in the NFL. Brock Purdy, it was announced, will not be under center for the 49ers when they travel to Lambeau this Sunday here. Brock Purdy, as well as Nick Bosa, out for the 49ers. So a terrible season just got worse, as they'll have to do it with a backup quarterback and no Nick Bosa. Went from bad to worse for the 49ers. We're going to go from bad to better here as the coach joins us next here on Game Time Decisions.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take. I think this line is asking you once again to take the room.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network as we get ready for the second Friday here of NBA Cup action on a loaded slate here tonight, and nobody better to talk hoops with than our good friend, the coach, James Young, in the house, ready for all sorts of fun and excitement in the NBA Cup, because we all know the players love this, Coach. They look forward to it all year, playing in this NBA Cup in a group stage right now, like they're all soccer players. But I still have no idea what is going on with this game. I don't understand the line. I don't care. I am not betting them in any way, shape, or form. But Why are people betting the Sixers? -5 now, Coach. 215.5 taking on the Brooklyn Nets. They clearly don't like one another, Coach. What am I missing?
Like each other. They hate each other. I mean, there are sports books out there that the best lines you're looking for is who's the snitch in the locker room. Now, if they have a who's the snitch in the locker room, that's not a good sign that your organization is on the right track. So a Philadelphia 76er team, if you look at it against the spread, I mean, I tried to go with them a couple of games ago, and they got rolled by Memphis. I thought, you get called out, you play hard, what happens? Paul George gets hurt. Maxey goes 3 for 13. Embiid, who should be diming people up, have 1 assist. They have gone, I think it's 1-7 or 2-10 against the spread their last 10 games against a Brooklyn Nets team that is 7-3 against the spread, and they're sneaky good. They play really, really hard. This is a stay away game for me. If anything, if it's tight, I may actually take the Nets on the money line late in the game, because I just believe in the culture and that Fernandez is playing. They're playing hard. The only thing you got to worry about with the game is how loud is Ben Simmons going to get booed in Philadelphia tonight.
Oh, loud, Coach. Going to be real, real loud here. That game coming up, top of the hour. One other game starting at 7 is the Wizards at home taking on the Celtics. And this is usually always one-sided when these two teams play. Tatum usually goes off for 1 million points. And you can tell, Coach, it's 16.5 right now. There's no way I can bet Washington. I don't know if there's props you would like to look at in this game, but it just feels like the Celtics will handle their business rather easily in this game, one way or the other.
Honestly, I would go and just take maybe the Celtics -5.5 in the first quarter. I just think that they just jumped them early. When you get Joe, you know this, when you get these big spreads, the backdoor cover is going to be the thing you get worried about. So when you go to the first quarter, right, those guys, Tatum, Brown, like especially one of them, probably Tatum, is going to play 12 minutes. Holiday, White, the rest of them, they're going to play about 8 to 9 minutes. So I'm going to take the scenario where I can get most bang for the buck. I would say go first quarter minus a points for the Celtics, and then see where it is at halftime, and then maybe, depending on what is at halftime, maybe jump in on the Celtics again in the third quarter minus a points if the game is tight.
It's, and it feels like guys like Pritchard are just going to get a ton of minutes tonight because this is going to be out of hand rather quickly. If you ask me with this one against the Wizards, the 7:30 slate, Coach, with the Warriors, who I believe tonight with a win over the Pelicans, and who are we kidding? It's not a matter of if, it's just when they beat the Pelicans tonight, they'll have an opportunity to be the first team to advance to the knockout rounds, but they will need the Nuggets to lose. We'll talk about that game coming up, but the Warriors only laying 10 against New Orleans. Feels like a bargain, Coach, doesn't it?
Like shopping at Family Dollar or Dollar Tree or whatever dollar store you got. Well, if you got $1, go put it on the Warriors. Because when you think about this team, the Pelicans, folks, they're missing, you could say, 5 of their top 7 guys.
Oof.
Obviously, McCollum's out. DeJounte Murray's out. Alvarado's out. Herb Jones is out. And Zion, he hurt his hamstring. You may not see him until the 2028 Olympics if we even want him to play for the team. And they're 3-7 or 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 games against a Warriors team that's playing really, really good basketball. 8-2 against the spread. Is it me or does this number seem light? Like, I think it's light. Yeah. I think the Warriors are going to win by 15, maybe 20 points. The last time you saw the Warriors play, Atlanta, it was a close spread. They beat them by 23. They're rolling. And the big thing about them, Joe, is not so much the offensive play. I think it's the defense of the Warriors. It's really been extremely good. They're playing good basketball. I'll take the Warriors minus the points. I'm not worried about the backdoor cover in this game because this may be a 20, 25-point win.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Coach. The number is a little suspect, especially if the Celtics are laying 16 on the road. You would think that the Warriors would be somewhere near that number there. I do think the 8 o'clock games are fascinating, Coach, especially when you looked at, here we are, a month into the season, and the Bulls and Hawks, that total was almost 250 here, Coach. 247 right now with two of the fastest teams in the NBA. They still got to make the buckets, though, don't they?
They still have to make the buckets, but if you look at these teams, they don't play a lick of defense. And anybody that's good defensively isn't playing. Lonzo Ball, decent defender, not playing. Patrick Williams, good defender, decent defender, not playing. DeAndre Hunter, good defender, not playing. So to me, you sort of look at this game. To me, I'm going to make it simple. I'm going to just take the Hawks on the money line. I'm just a bigger believer in this team than I am of the Chicago Bulls. And they are playing decent basketball at 7-9. I'm going to go ahead and take Atlanta on the money line. If you think about the games that they've lost at Golden State, they got blown out. So this is working their way back east. They had a good win at Sacramento. They beat Boston in obviously a couple of weeks ago or last week. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Atlanta Hawks on the money line to get the job done in Chicago.
Oh, I love it. Well, I mean, here we are a month into the season. It was only a matter of time before we got something close to 250 as a total. And what a shocker. The Atlanta Hawks are involved in that game there. So we've got more on that. I want to talk to you about the Bucks and the Pacers, which is fascinating. We'll do that when Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek. As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Yeah. All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri alongside the coach, James Young, getting ready for the NBA slate of games here tonight. Coach, the NBA Cup continues here in this group stage with two interesting teams that what a difference a year makes. The Milwaukee Bucks will be hosting the Indiana Pacers, and quite honestly, the Pacers don't look like the Pacers yet, Coach. They're a little bit slower in tempo. Halliburton hasn't really gotten off yet? It seems like they're not all clicking, not to mention the Milwaukee Bucks are just a hot mess here. So when you put it all together, it's another team I have a hard time going, yeah, let me lay 5-6 points from Milwaukee. I don't know that I want to do that either.
No, you really can't. And if you really think about it, in the case of Indiana, they're banged up, particularly at the guards, right? Naismith and Nembhard. Why is that important? I think Naismith and Nembhard are their two best guard defenders, right? Chris Middleton hasn't played a lick. Shout out to a great contract, $3 for $103 million only in America. But to me, when you look at this game, if there's one thing you should bet in this game, I think it's the over. I don't think either of these teams play a lick of damn defense. If there's a game that's going to get up and down, it could be this one. Now, you can sit there and say, it's not the same, but to me, when you take out two of the best defenders on one team, right, I think I'm going to want to run. So if you look at, take out away the playoff games, these are high-octane, high-paced games, and if you're Indiana, you're going to want to run because this is an older team. So to me, the play is the over. I think it goes over. I think it's 236, 237 and a half. I think the thing gets to about 245 or so. I think there's going to be fireworks in this game. So remember, folks, these teams do not like each other at all.
So no, they don't. And we also have an interesting one here. Would have been really great if everyone was healthy, but no Doncic for Dallas. However, they have been pretty decent with Kyrie and Lively on the floor and no Doncic. But the big question is whether the Joker will be back. Some are saying personal reasons, might have been for the birth of a child. Nobody seems to know. But he's still questionable tonight. But, boy, they are a different team without the Joker than Dallas is without Doncic. It feels like the market is starting to look towards Dallas's way as this number has come down. What do you think we're going to get here?
I simply put it, it's because of the play of Kyrie Irving, right? Because of the way of Kyrie can score the ball and dominate the ball. It's simply put, it's a simple wait too close to game time. Joker's in, take the Nuggets. Joker's out, take the Mavs. It's simply put. You can't overcomplicate it at that. And if you want to, just take Kyrie's over points. Because who's checking him on that team? Not Christian Brown, not Jamal Murray. And Kyrie is still one of the best, if not the best, one-on-one player in the NBA. But one game, Joe, really sneaky that I think we need to give some love and respect to is, can we talk about what Ime Udoka's doing with Houston? Yeah. I believed in this team. I said that this team was going to win their group. They're playing a Portland team that won, beat, Minnesota, which I thought was a big win until I saw, the whole situation with Julius Randle not pass the ball to Gobert, and Gobert walked up the lane.
Shocker.
It's a shocker. That team's imploding. But to me, I like the Rockets minus the points. They play really good defense. They get up in your grill, and they're starting to play, particularly Jabari Smith. It's a big number, folks, but if there's a big number I'm laying it more than the Warriors, it's the Rockets, minus 13 at home versus Portland.
DeRozan, and it looks like Sabonis back for the Kings, but the Clippers have been pretty good here lately, Coach. Are you buying the Kings, or you got to give them maybe a game before you want to go ahead and back them?
No, I'm going to take the Kings on the money line tonight. I know it's minus 3, so it's minus 158 right now on FanDuel, so maybe it comes down a little bit. But to me, when you look at this game, and particularly in the NBA Cup, right, the Kings control their own destiny, right? They can go 1-1 if they get a win, and then they still have to play Houston. They still have to play Portland. So to me, they can get their way through this. So I do like Sacramento to go get the win tonight.
Yeah, it's they're going to be glad to have Sabonis back, and so will anybody looking to bet his props, looking to go up and over on that one.
No Embiid. Run to the Nets. No Embiid. But shocking, no Embiid.
Shocker, yeah. And he might not even show up on the bench. That's how bad they hate him there. Coach, always a pleasure, my man. Enjoy the games. Game Time Decision returns after this here on the Grid.
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Quarterly, I missed you pinching your own cheek. As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you. He goes here on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by on this Friday as we've got plenty going on across the board here. College basketball underway. Plenty of games currently happening right now, as well as getting ready to tip off, including Duke on the road taking on Arizona, a couple of top 25 teams a little bit later tonight. Not to mention the NBA Cup back in focus. Light night on the ice here. We had a big 10-game slate last night. Just a couple of games here tonight. And to break those down, nobody better than George Kurtz stepping in here. And George, very interesting NHL scheduling. It's been like this all year long where we get these random 9 games, then you get 3 games, then you get 1 game. Like, what are we doing, NHL? But the games they did give us, looks like there might be some value in some of them here. Winnipeg and Pittsburgh getting ready at the top of the hour here. Winnipeg 6, I'm seeing as a total, with Pittsburgh getting about a plus 150, 160, somewhere in that ballpark. Even up to 6.5 now. I mean, is there any way to back the home dog here?
Pittsburgh, right? They've got Sidney Crosby. You've got Malkin. You've got Letang. Right? You've got 3 Hall of Famers, right? No doubt Hall of Famers. The problem is after that, it gets a little questionable. Winnipeg has had one of the best starts to a season that we've seen. Granted, Joe, Winnipeg has played a soft schedule. They have not played the hardest of teams here. That being said, Pittsburgh's part of that soft schedule. Pittsburgh's not playing well. They don't have a goalie they truly trust here. I do expect Jarry to be in net tonight for the Penguins. If you don't want to lay the 182, and that's a tough lay for me too, especially when I'm not thrilled about parlaying it with if you want to go with the Anaheim Ducks or the Buffalo Sabres. The other game here, you go the goal line. They'll score goals tonight. So I don't think we're going to get a 2-1 game here. I think it's going to be 4 or 5 goals scored for Peg. The question is, can Pittsburgh answer in tow here? So I'm going to go on the goal line here. I'll take the plus 138 here. If you want to go the over, the under, I probably lean under. You got Hellebuck, he's one of the best goalies, not the best in the league here. Pittsburgh has trouble scoring, and I think I think Peg will be able to keep that top line in check, keep Crosby in check here. I don't love the under, mind you, and you are paying for it, so they're leaning towards the under as well. It's minus 120. I'm not betting it, but I do lean under here. You also might want to go for an anytime goal scorer. Kyle Connor would be a really good pick there. Maybe you want to go Shifley for more than 2 points or more. That's an option as well. And by the way, Joe, as far as the NHL scheduling, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, we always have big slates. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's potluck. All right, we don't know what we're getting here. I didn't know how many games are tonight. I looked, 2. Really? Yeah, because you just never know with the NHL.
No, you really don't here. But that first game would be interesting if you can make some money on the home dog there with Pittsburgh tonight. And I'm looking at the late one there with Buffalo and Anaheim. And call me crazy, Kurtz. I like the goalies in this one. I mean, Buffalo and Lukokonen, brilliant, 1-0 shutout on the Kings on Wednesday night. He has been very hard to score on, and Dostal's not actually been terrible for the Ducks either. It feels like 6.5 is a reach here. No, is it an underplay for you?
I think the problem is this going here. All right. By the way, the goalie is Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. All right. My favorite name in the NHL. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Goalies for the Buffalo Sabres here. He's up against John Gibson. And by the way, I do expect this to be the year that John Gibson is traded. Maybe to the Avalanche, you could use an upgrade here. Toronto seems to be okay now, but I think Gibson's finally going to get moved. We've been waiting for this for like the past 5 years for Gibson to be traded here from a team that they don't need a good goaltender. He won't bring back what he once could have, but he'll still bring back a nice piece for the Anaheim Ducks. So I sort of lean with you. We just never know with Buffalo. What did I just say about Pittsburgh? Is Buffalo going to show up tonight? Are they not going to show up? You just don't know with them. I think Tage Thompson is still out there, their top scorer here. I probably kind of lean under, but once again, not betting it. I am taking, though, you'll be proud of me, Joe. You'll be proud. I am not going chalk here. Give me the Ducks, who have been playing much better of late. All right, I'll take the plus money with the Ducks over Buffalo here. I think it's not going to be an easy game. I think it's going to be close here. I just don't trust Buffalo enough to take them.
Wow, that was actually a pretty good job against Dallas in the last game there, too, as well. So you're not trusting the Buffalo Sabres on the road, but we will take a little shot of plus money here with the Ducks. I'm with you here. I like it. Maybe a Pittsburgh and Anaheim, 2 home dogs here tonight. We're taking a little flyer on. This sounds like a 2-team money line dog parlay to me, Kurtz, and then we can retire. And we'll see if we'll see how that works out for us, as Winnipeg and Hellebuck are probably going to win by 3 goals. Let's talk here, Kurtz, a little NFL action, as we learned earlier today that Danny Dimes wants absolutely nothing to do remaining around this team. But I'm kind of curious. He asked for his release. They gave it to him. He's got to go through waivers. So if he makes it through waivers, which of course he will, because nobody's going to take on that $160 million contract, does he sign with anybody this year? You think anybody brings him in as an insurance policy?
I think if I'm Daniel Jones, I think that's the smart thing to do. Don't go play for the Raiders. Don't go play the Cowboys or any team. Don't go play for a bad team. It's not going to help you any. All right, you're just going to play poorly. I think you need to go sign with the team, a good team that has a good coaching staff. Kansas City. I mean, they may not need a backup quarterback, but that's where I'm going with this. Sign with a good team. Needs a good backup quarterback. Minnesota comes to mind, by the way, right? Someone behind Sam Darnold. Might be a good insurance policy there. But you want to, even if you don't play again, learn. All right, pick up what you can from the coaching staff here. Get better for next year. I think. Do I think his days as a starter period are over? No. We see this, retreads over and over again. Maybe he'll be the caretaker for one of these teams that gets a top quarterback next year in the draft, and he'll start for a couple of games so that person is ready. Think what happened with Drake May this year. I can see that going there, but I don't think he'll be starting a game this year. And by the way, I know social media went crazy today that he's going to go to the Cowboys. Wouldn't that be fun if he plays against the Giants on Thanksgiving? He can't, as you said, he can't clear waivers. Can't sign with anybody until Monday. He would have no practice time until that game Thursday. Even if he did sign with Dallas, which won't happen, by the way, he's not playing Thanksgiving.
I don't think there's no impact to the Giants whether they release them now or wait until the end of the season. They're still, the cap is the cap. The hit is the hit there. So it will be interesting to see. He clears waivers. Maybe an audition for one of those bad teams there, Kurtz, could Could the Raiders come knocking and say, let's give them a couple of, let's see what you got? Or, hey, as it is, I hate to break it to them, but the 49ers don't have Brock Purdy this week. And the 49ers could use all the help they can get, too. And Shanahan wouldn't be a bad situation there. Might the 49ers come knocking?
Oh, Joe, I think you just maybe need the number one team, right? Because we don't know how bad that injury is, right? We just know he's not playing this week, and this happened late. I think that's a good one, and doesn't that fit my parameter? Good coaching staff. Even if you don't play, you get to learn. You get to learn on the Shanahan. So, yeah, I think that would be good. I think Buffalo, would make some sense here. The Miami Dolphins as an insurance policy, because I think they think they're still in it. The Raiders wouldn't make sense. Why bother? You don't want it. You don't want him starting for you next year. You're going to go to Shedeur Sanders or whatever happens there. So I'm looking at other teams here. Cincinnati, I just don't see it. Houston, I guess, could make a phone, little phone call there. Insurance policy. I said the Chiefs would make some sense. Maybe the Chargers. Then you get to the NFC teams. I think there will be teams because let's face it, he's not at a 64 quarterbacks in the NFL, starters and backups. He's not 65. He may not be top 32, but he's better than a lot of backups. And I think if this would have happened a week ago, what happened to Purdy and Jones got released, I think he may already be on the San Francisco 49ers.
Could he possibly land with his former teammate in Philadelphia as a backup here, Kurtz? Interesting.
Oh, come on, Joe. Now no. No, I don't think so, but that would be funny. They chose Jones over Barkley, and now they're both together in Philadelphia. That's just not nice, Joe.
That is the kind of thing that writes itself, people. And that's exactly the kind of thing Philadelphia would love to do, just to stick it to the Giants. That would be absolutely amusing, to say the least. All right, Kurtz, outstanding stuff. I do have a few games I want to ask you about. We'll do that when Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Quarterly, I missed you pinching your own cheek. As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you. Just here on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe Raineri, joined by our good friend George Kurtz, as Week 12 of the NFL season started last night, Kurtz, in our first snow game of the year. That was pretty fun to watch there, unless, of course, you're a Steelers fan or a Steelers backer, at which point you were probably throwing up watching that shanked punt to give Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns an opportunity to win the game, which they did. You got to give them credit for there. But we are also hearing all sorts of other guys and other teams that are not going to be available. We just mentioned that it was announced earlier. Kyle Shanahan said that Purdy, trouble throwing the ball yesterday at practice, and it looks like a shoulder tightening up. Looks like he's not going. He's been ruled out. Nick Bosa has been ruled out. You had mentioned the backup quarterback, Brandon Allen, is a go for the 49ers. That line is gone from 1.5 there for Green Bay to now -5, Kurtz. It makes it very difficult without knowing what's going on with this 49ers team to back them. But how many more games in a row is Jordan Love going to throw a interception here? Because it's 8 straight now, Kurtz, that he has thrown a pick in games that he has played in. Does he make it 9? It doesn't look like he's progressing. He's still got those, you can't keep throwing interceptions at this point, no?
You can't. And they've been ugly interceptions, Joe, right? I mean, they've been I'm getting tackled to the ground, I'll just throw the ball up. And he's like, what are you doing? You can't do stuff like that. That being said, I expect this great game script to be now without Purdy and with Brandon Allen quarterbacking, a lot of Josh Jacobs. Because I think Green Bay is going to be like, we don't need to put the ball in the air. Why take a chance? They're not going to score or not going to score much. I think Green Bay knows we'll take care of things. They'll put the ball in the air when they have to. So I'm going to say no on the interception unless we're talking a Hail Mary at the end of the first half. Well, that can always happen, right? And that's just bad luck for us. But I'm going to say no on the interception because I just don't think he's not going to throw the ball 40 times. I can see him throwing the ball here 28 times, like that. So I would think if you're thinking as attempts, I would take the under on attempts because I think Green Bay wins this game. I think they win it, not a blowout, but comfortably where they're not throwing the ball all that much in the second half.
We got we just learned a little while ago, Kurtz, for the big Sunday night matchup, Philadelphia will not be with Devonta Smith now. Hamstring issue, he's out. And it feels like Devonta Smith or A.J. Brown or both, it's one or the other or none of them. It feels like we've been dealing with this all season long with them here. We know Brown missed 3 games, including week 4 earlier in the season, but it looks like he'll be a go, but still not exactly their full complement. But they do have Barkley, and quite honestly, with the way they run the ball, that might be all they need here in this spot.
Yeah, their yardage, by the way, this season comes 49% on the ground. They are running the ball and running the ball successfully. I don't think losing Devonta Smith is going to change that all that much. Where teams, they're going to load up on the run now to stop that. No, I don't see that. All right, I think they'll be, once again, Barkley will have his success on the ground. There's no more Aaron Donald for the Rams here, so they're not going to be able to gang up on Barkley and stop him. With Devonta Smith out, I think A.J. Brown, of course, has a good game. But what did we see when A.J. Brown was out? All right, Dallas Goedert. He was the guy that Hurts really looked for over and over again. So I think Goddard could be a nice play this week as well, maybe even to get an anytime touchdown there for those who like them. I think we're going to get some points in this game. I'm not talking 34-30, but I think this game does go barely over the number here. I think 27-24, somewhere around that. So because I think the Eagles, the Rams will be able to move the football as well here. So I'm not all that panicking. I think Dotson, by the way, could also be a sneaky play this week. Someone has to catch the ball on the outside other than A.J. Brown.
We also learned the Raiders, not that it matters because they don't run the ball anyway, but their top 2 running backs, Zamir White and Madison, also out, taking on the Denver Broncos. Now, listen, it is an AFC West battle with these 2 teams. Crazy things always happen when these 2 teams play. It's because that's the beauty of, division rivals here. But I cannot be more impressed with the progression that we're seeing from Bo Nix. But they do rush the passer. This isn't like Atlanta. Atlanta can't get to the quarterback. Yeah, they can get to the quarterback, the Raiders. The problem is, can they score enough in this game to actually pull out the upset?
I'll tell you, if you have a ticket on Jaden Daniels to win Rookie of the Year, you're sweating a little bit right now, right? This was over and done with 2 weeks ago. Now, Daniels has calmed down some. I think that's because of the rib injury, and Bo Nix looks fantastic, right? Sean Payton has his quarterback, tutoring him up well, and things are going well. Very athletic, Bo Nix. I think this game's a butt kicking. All right. I'm not talking 31-3, but Denver's defense is too good. All right. The Raiders have all sorts of issues here. I mean, maybe Minshew can have some magic. Every now and then he does it. Amir Abdullah was a big pickup in fantasy leagues this week because of what you already said. White and Madison were known that he was going to be out. If Denver covers Brock Bowers, I think the Raiders have a real tough time moving the ball. And by the way, if I'm a DC, I would have thinking about put Surtain on Bowers and force Jacoby Myers to beat me. Force Minshew to find Jacoby Myers. That's half what I would think. They won't do that, but that's how I would approach it here. Put your best cornerback on their best receiver, which is Bowers here. I think Denver takes care of business in this contest, somewhere along the lines of 24-10, something like that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot here, and I do think. Also, we learned that Anzalone, I believe, out, another big defensive stalwart for Detroit. They're laying a whole lot of points here, right? 7.5 here on the road against Indy? I mean, how many more leaders on the defensive side can they lose before we go, they're not always going to drop 50 here, guys?
I think you're right. I think you're onto something here. All right. These are going to start to add up. Maybe it won't add up versus Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a so-so team. So maybe it doesn't add up here. By the way, Joe, did you also find it a little fishy that it's only 7.5 here? I mean, I kind of thought this might be higher. I don't know about double digits, but I thought higher than just put it over the touchdown marker here. I don't see how you're taking the Colts. All right. Not with that Detroit offense, because the defense may be hurting, but the offense still scores points here. I'm on Detroit. I'll be betting Montgomery to score a touchdown, if not 3. Gibbs probably the same. By the way, Amon St. Brown could set a record this week with a touchdown. Definitely Amon St. Brown, anytime touchdown.
Yeah, it's a head-scratching line there, but the injuries continue to pile up for Detroit on the defensive side, and that is not good news. George, enjoy the games, my man. Appreciate the time as always. Game Time Decisions will be back after this.
Sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Fortunately, I missed you picking your own cheeks, because I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network as we look to close out this first hour together on a Friday, and it is shaping up to be A good one here, just a few minutes away from the opening games of week 2 of the NBA Cup here. The Nets taking on the 76ers. The news in this game is that it looks like we will not have Joel Embiid. Shocker. Stop me if you've heard that before. But it appears Embiid out for the Sixers here tonight. That was as high as 5.5 points the Sixers were laying. We opened up the show and told you earlier this hour, I have no idea who's betting the Sixers. I don't know why they think they can be trusted in any way, shape, or form. And then just about 15 minutes ago, we learned that Embiid is out. That line now 3 in favor of the 76ers. That game is coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Needless to say, we are already on the Brooklyn Nets getting 5 and 5.5 points. We also have the Celtics and the Wizards getting ready, coming up top of the hour with the Celtics. The biggest spread of the night, 16 points, is what they are laying here, and with good reason, because let's face it, the Wizards are horrific. And they are just as bad as, well, what the Sixers are, because they have just about the same record, 2 wins, 11 losses. The Wizards played a couple of good games early on in the season, and we all thought, hey, maybe they won't be as bad as we think they're going to be. And the answer to that was no. They are even worse than what we thought they would be. 8 of their 9 losses have now come by double digits. They just lost to Detroit on Sunday, 124-104, and now they get to take on a Boston team who just beat the previously undefeated Cleveland Cavs at home, and now they look to keep it rolling against the Wizards here on the road. It does feel, and it always has been, a team and a matchup in which Jason Tatum has always played very, very well against these Wizards. And it looks like Boston, with a 1-1 record, will have an opportunity here to advance to the next round with a win. I expect them to get it, but I also expect guys like Pritchard to get a lot of minutes here tonight. Why? Because this is going to be over by the time the fourth quarter comes, which means guys like Pritchard will probably get a ton of minutes. I think I saw his point prop at 13.5. That feels like a safe bet here with the Celtics, who have already won 7 games by at least 10 points this season. Pritchard has scored at least 14 points in 5 of those games, and that includes a 20-point win over the Wizards back in October last month, where he dropped 15 points here. I do think he'll be playing a lot of minutes in this game, which he's averaging 17.3 points per game on the road. And in a potential blowout, that means guys like Pritchard will be getting a ton of minutes. I got no problem taking his point prop up and over here tonight, as we do anticipate the Celtics handling business rather easily in this one. The 7:30 game is going to be the Golden State and New Orleans Pelicans. Stop me if you've heard this before, but there is absolutely nobody healthy for the Pelicans. And it does feel like the Golden State Warriors, who have the opportunity tonight with a win to be the first team to actually clinch and advance to the knockout rounds. And that's good news. They will need, of course, Denver to handle their business. Or, I'm sorry, Denver. They're going to need Denver to lose tonight. If Denver loses against Dallas, which is very possible, and the Golden State Warriors win, then the Golden State will be that first team to advance to the knockout round. And that's good news because Luka Doncic, we know, is not playing with a wrist sprain. We are still waiting to hear what the deal is with the Joker, but we had mentioned it earlier. Keep in mind, Dallas without Doncic is still and has been pretty good, folks, especially when you have Kyrie and Derek Lively on the court at the same time. They are pretty good even without him. The Denver Nuggets are not good without the Joker. The number and the data show it that without him on the court and the lack of depth on this bench makes it a tough sell, which I think is why the market is starting to come in on Dallas. This is down to 3.5. It was 4.5. So we'll keep an eye on this game, but we got much more coming. Another hour of Game Time Decisions next here on the Grid.
Sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Quarterly, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome in. A very happy Friday to you. It is Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by as we are getting ready for Week 12 in the NFL. Here was a great game last night to start it off there with Pittsburgh and the Browns, a little snow game, and it will culminate, of course, on a big Sunday night game between Philadelphia and the Chargers here, the Rams, rather, and then the Chargers and the Ravens on Monday night. We also have a huge Week 13 in college football. And, of course, the game that everyone will be talking about will be in Columbus tomorrow early, 2 noon kickoff, as Ohio State will look to show its dominance once again over the upstart Indiana Hoosiers, who, hey, at Week 13 are undefeated, but they are also a double-digit dog here. This was as high as 13.5. It has been bought down mostly on the news that the starting center for Ohio State got hurt in practice this week. Now, that's not great news, but when you consider the fact that the backup was the starting center last year at Ohio State, I wouldn't be running to the window to hurry up and fade them because the center went down. I think they'll be just fine, but plenty of college football coming up this hour. We'll break down for you. And of course, the NBA Cup off and running with 3 games this hour. We'll keep you posted on plenty of college basketball, but really the NFL is king, especially on a Friday. And nobody knows that better than our good friend Brady Cannon in the house on this Friday here, Brady. And it was fun last night watching some snow, watching Jameis, his first game in sub-40 temperatures. I think you can be pretty proud of the old Florida State alum there, Brady. I thought he did a pretty good job. And once again, for whatever reason, Man, the Steelers love playing down to the competition on the road, don't they, Brady?
They sure do. Yet to win a road game on Thursday night in Mike Tomlin's career. 0 for 8 now are the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night when on the road. And I kind of smelled that one from a mile away. I mean, you come off, it's really, in truth, Joe, a very unfair scheduling spot to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You come off of a huge game against the Ravens, and then they ask you to go on a short week on the road in division again to Cleveland. That was pretty tough. And they still almost pulled it off. But, yeah, hats off to Jameis Winston. Big night for Nick Chubb. You know, this team is really as healthy as they've been all season long, and they put it all together. Myles Garrett, you know, he's kind of got that personal thing with TJ Watt, you know, and he showed up and showed who he thinks is boss, you know, in that little rivalry. And what do you know? Kevin Stefanski, turns out he can coach football pretty well. You know, people talking about this guy being on the hot seat. I mean, he's won Coach of the Year once. Has he won it twice? I mean, so much of the struggles for Cleveland, I think, were about, you know, Deshaun Watson and how he has tied up that organization so much with that salary that impacts that team. I didn't think it was ever the coaching. They weren't healthy. Like I say, the offensive line was incredibly banged up, and Watson was just a mess. And no, I think Stefanski is just fine, and that was a big win for Cleveland last night.
Very good. And now hopefully they can just remove themselves from the whole Deshaun Watson thing. And maybe Jameis is a good placeholder while you spend the next 20 years paying Deshaun Watson. Let's dive into some of these games coming up on Sunday. And it feels like a trap, looks like a trap, smells like a trap. I'm not running to the window, laying double digits with Kansas City here, although they're going to win, don't get me wrong, coming off the loss. But they've been burning money, acting as if they're going to cover anything by margin here. Not to mention, people not forgotten, I mean, Carolina's actually won their last 2 games here. They're actually playing competent football.
Yeah, off of a bye week. You hate to bet against, or you hate to bet on a team that goes into a bye week on a roll, right? Yeah, Carolina absolutely rolling with 2 wins in a row. Probably the best winning streak they've had in a couple, 3 seasons. But no, all kidding aside, I was surprised, honestly, Joe, that this number was this low. I made it 14.5, and I thought it might be 16 or 17. No, I'm not going to run to the window and lay a number like that with the Chiefs. I don't really want to take it either. I mean, yeah, I know the Panthers have won a couple in a row, but, you know, they beat the Saints and they beat the New York Giants. And we know what those 2 organizations represent. The Saints, you know, after losing to Carolina, they fired their coach. I mean, New York is a complete mess. Kansas City absolutely out of handle business. I wouldn't be surprised if they covered the number. I used it in a 10-point teaser. And I don't think that's a bad play. Taking Kansas City all the way down to like a pick 'em or maybe -1. Maybe you want to, you know, obviously it's a massive price, but maybe you can put it into 4 or 5 team money line parlay. That's not probably the greatest bet on the board, but 10-point teaser is going to require you to use 3 teams. Maybe you throw the Washington Commanders in there. Maybe you throw the Patriots in there. Get a couple of teams up to some pretty big numbers, and I think that might just work for you.
Yeah, I took the Kansas City team total. I think it was 26.5. I could see them getting 28, 35 points in this game, no problem.
Yeah.
And I think they'll get right. Kelsey will get back on track, and I think they'll be just fine. I bet against them last week because I know Sam Darnold's a ticking time bomb here. And 13 penalties, 91 yards, and 7 free first downs, and you still barely covered last week against Tennessee if you're Minnesota. It's their 3rd straight road game, Brady.
Yeah.
And they're laying the hook 3.5 against, that call me crazy, you know, Shane Waldron gone, but that offense looked a little more capable, especially with DJ Moore. Are we taking the points or are we laying them here with the road team?
I could only take it, Joe. And what you said was one of the biggest keys for me this week in breaking down this game, and that's 3 straight road games for Minnesota.
Yes.
And I think it might be 3 out of the last 4 or out of the last 5 as well. But 3 in a row. This is the 3rd in a row for Minnesota. And, they seem to be on a little bit of a steady decline. They're still a good team. Don't get me wrong, but they're not nearly as good as the way they started this season. Teams are starting to figure them out. Like you say, ticking time bomb. You don't know when Darnold's going to blow up. He did blow up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he threw 3 interceptions in that game. And the Bears are a very tough out at home. I think it's 8 wins against the spread in their last 9 home games. How are they going to rebound off of that heartbreaking loss last week? We'll see what they're all about here. But no, I mean, there's so many road favorites this week, Joe. You got to pick your spots. Who do you want to back? Who do you want to go against? In this case, I'd probably be more likely to go against the road favorite with the home dog here than lay it with the Vikings.
All right, you Charger homer. Did they beat the Ravens on Monday night? Because I think they're I think they're a live home dog here. What do you think?
I'm right there with you, man. When I crunch all my numbers, I come to this game as basically a pick 'em. I have Baltimore favored by a half point. That pass defense, they keep teams around. They allow teams to hang around, and none other better than Justin Herbert, who can absolutely sling it. He's moved up to 8th in the NFL in yards per pass attempt. That doesn't seem like a Jim Harbaugh, blue-collar team who likes to run the football. But, yeah, they actually can throw it around the yard. They have a tremendous defense. And I think Jim beats John in this one. I think they win it outright, Joe.
Man, who would you pick, Jim or John, if you needed one coach for the big game? Who would you take?
Wow. God, that is such a hard question. I'd probably take Jim.
Yeah, I'll take the old man. I bet you he knows better than all of them, man. Appreciate it, Brady. Be good.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in the set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people. What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take. I think this line is asking you once again to take the room.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. A very happy Friday to you now, the 22nd of November. How do you like that? Time's flying here. Before you know it, Thanksgiving will be here. Yes, it will. Literally, like in 5 days, it will be here, which means plenty of football, plenty of college basketball, plenty of NBA action, and our good friend Scotty Wetzel, Mr. Opposite Picks. Well, he'll be taking over here at top of the hour for a little in-game live tonight, Scotty, and we got a little something for everybody here tonight. And we'll start with the second round of the group play in the NBA Cup tonight. Some interesting games. I know we are already underway with Boston and Washington there. That was going to be the first game off the board there, getting ready to go. But we also have some other interesting games coming up here tonight. Bottom of the hour here in just about 15 minutes. The Golden State Warriors laying double digits against New Orleans. And am I wrong here, Scotty, in thinking this number, I thought if the Celtics are laying 16 on the road, how are the Warriors not laying around that number against the Pelicans team who can't score at all? It felt like we're getting a bargain at -10, are we not?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. By the way, the Celtics, Joe, our halftime over Celtics play that we've been playing all the time, 66.5 today. I mean, we're approaching 70 points for a halftime line on this, but they keep on going over. I mean, no matter what the thing is, it's an automatic overplay. But yes, 66.5, right? Crazy. 7-6 early on. So same thing with Golden State, laying 10, right? I thought, I'll tell you, after watching the Pelicans lose again by 20-plus points, back-to-back 20-plus point losses, no C.J. McCollum tonight, no Zion Williamson. Buy your stock on Hostess because he's going to be out for a little bit longer. So look out, Mr. Twinkies, because here he comes. He's going to be on the bench for a couple of more months, apparently, according to a report today. They get Brandon Ingram back and Jordan Hawkins, no big deal. But it's basically the same wounded Pelicans team that just has not, even been respectable these last couple of games. So they're only 4-12 against the spread. Who wants to lay double digits? I get it on the road, but give me Golden State. They're playing great, laying the 10 against New Orleans.
All right, Scotty, I got to ask you about this because here we are a month into the season. We're already up to 250 points pre-flop in a game here with the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, come on. The Atlanta Hawks, and how many times have you and I said it? Listen, these two teams are the fastest tempo teams, the Bulls and the Hawks. So I get why it's the big number here. But, Scott, you still got to make you know how much has to go right in order to be able to get 250? I mean, there has to be little to no resistance, and you can't miss any shots. Do we trust these two teams to get up and over this?
I don't think so, Joe. We had a 239 Atlanta at Golden State earlier this week, and it didn't come close because Atlanta didn't show, So you need both teams. That's the other, as you're saying there, you need both teams to show up. You can't have one team score 130 and have the other team score 100, 105. It's not going over. It's 130 to 1. Think about this, 130 to 110, 130 to 115. When you're automatically hit the score, hey, I hit my over bet, right? No, you didn't. They added up. That's 245, 247 points. That's great. Although that line has been there all day, Joe. No one seems to be betting the under enough to make that thing even move. So, but I like the under in the game. I got to see that happen. That is a crazy, crazy pace. So give me the under on that one.
Scotty, absolutely nuts there. Another interesting game here, though. Houston taking on Portland, who listen, I think the future is bright for this Portland team. I especially love anytime DeAndre Ayton doesn't play because when you get Robert Williams involved, they're actually a better team without DeAndre Ayton, just, the stick in the mud there. It doesn't look like he's going to go here tonight. Houston's a big test, but what are they laying? 12.5 here, Scott? It feels like a big number. Is it too big for you?
It is too big, Joe. There's a lot of doubt on this Portland team. Now, it did go from 13 to 12, but Andre looks like he's not playing. He's doubtful. Jeremy Grant is listed as questionable. He has an illness. Easy for me to say, right? He's sick. Anthony Simons has a right hand sprain. Scoot Henderson has an injury as well. They're all listed as questionable. So you could have 4 guys, literally, including Ayton, not play tonight. So I would not. Portland, they covered 6 straight, including 5 in a row at home. They're playing good ball. Who would have thought just a couple of years ago we'd be laying double digits with the Rockets, but they turned into a really good team, Joe. So give me Houston laying to 13, maybe even 12 now. It's down to 12 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I'm with you here. It's kind of crazy, but I think the future is certainly bright there. The Mavs and the Nuggets, I've been saying it, Scotty. Listen, Dallas has proven with Kyrie and Lively and Washington, they can win. They'll be fine without Doncic. If the Joker doesn't go, I'm sorry, the Nuggets are not fine without him here, and we're still questionable at this point. How do you approach this game?
Yeah, I'm assuming he's playing. I mean, personal reasons. His wife gave birth. I mean, how many games you going to miss? He's missed 3 games. They got tonight and they got tomorrow. So if he misses tonight, that would mean theoretically he's probably going to miss tomorrow. So that means he's going to miss 5 games now. Give me the over. I think he's playing. Dallas 4-1 over on the road. Denver 5-0 straight over at home. So 224.5, as crazy as it sounds, isn't really that big of a number in an NBA game.
We also, I believe, Kings and Clippers tonight, and it looks like Sabonis and DeRozan back for Sacramento here. But the Clippers have been playing quality basketball, and boy, they can play some defense. Are they going to play enough of it tonight?
Yeah, I think they will, Joe. There's some pretty decent under numbers. Nothing crazy, but the last 5 meetings between these two teams, under 4-1. Sacramento, 4-1 under their last 5 overall. And then the Clippers, 5-0 under at home. So, you know what? A rare under on a Friday night. Give me under 221, Sac and the Clips.
Oh, liking a little bit of an under here tonight in the NBA. All right, we do have a couple of more games that we want to go over in college basketball, Scotty, when we get back, because there are some huge games tonight, culminating, of course, Duke, Arizona, Baylor, and Tennessee for an encore here tonight. So we got much to get to. Don't go anywhere. Game Time Decisions. We'll be back after this here on The Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Quarterly, I missed you pinching your own cheeks as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas, you know?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Scotty Wetzel here. Of course, will be taking over top of the hour for In-Game Live, Scotty. And we got plenty going on here tonight. NBA, college football also underway right now with UTSA and Temple. 7-0 in that game. And let's not forget, we got plenty of college hoops tonight and a couple of really big games. Big name games, in fact. We'll start with the late one first here. Duke lost to Kentucky in heartbreaking fashion there. They blew a lead there, couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat in second half. But they're taking on an Arizona team in Arizona. This isn't one of those tournament games. This is a straight road game for Duke here. 2 top 25 teams. What do we get here tonight?
Yeah, first thing, back to the football game, Joe. The coaches fired system in play tonight with Temple. They've had 4. I will tell you this: we've had 4 coaches fired in season so far, leading up to this week. Those teams 4-0 against the spread their next game. It's one of one of the best systems we hit last night with the Boston Bruins. It goes across all sports. College, it works the best. It really does, but. Coaches fired. Yeah, they're only down 7-0. They're getting 17.5 now in FanDuel, so I like that. Listen,
7-3.
College basketball, right? College basketball. Sometimes, Joe, the simplest terms is don't make this stuff harder than it has to be. I get it. These teams have only played a couple of games this year, but Duke is averaging 88.5 points per game. Arizona's averaging 94. They're giving us a total of 160.5. Now, I don't know. That's the 94 and 88. To me, that's over 170 points. It's 180 points that they're averaging combined, and I got a number that's 160.5. You know what? Again, don't make it harder than it has to be. Give me the over 160.5. Go up and down the court. Duke can run and gun with anyone. I don't think in a game like this they're going to want to slow it down. I think they realize these games are all for fun, basically, these early season games. So let's get a nice 90-88, Duke win or lose or loss.
I love it. All right, going up and over in that one. What a game, Baylor and the Johnnies last night. Double overtime, and, of course, a 3 at the buzzer to win it for the Baylor Bears, who coughed up leads all over the place in that. Well, the Johnnies coughed up leads over in that game. Not good. Both teams had opportunities to end it in the end of regulation as well as the first overtime. But Tennessee had to wait to play the game until they were done, and then they quickly dispatched Virginia. They just suffocated them here. That was a lot of basketball by Baylor last night. Who are you leaning to in this one?
Yeah, same thing. It's kind of weird. You got Baylor that you can make the case. They're tired. They had an overtime game. They're going to come back to the pack, rest a little, not rest, but, walk the ball up the court a little bit. And then you got Tennessee playing hard-nosed defense. Can they realistically do that, though? 2 games in a row, different animal, Baylor versus Virginia. So same thing, Joe. Baylor averages 88 points a game. Tennessee averages 86. In my world, 174 points is a heck of a lot more than 140.5. If you didn't like that philosophy with the Duke game, how can't you like that philosophy here, though? 140.5, I think, is a bargain. Give me the over 140.5. I don't worry about who's going to win.
Going the over 140.5. And our boys from Hofstra taking on Houston.
Yes.
I think they're getting 70 tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, they really are. If you wanted to, Joe, you could take Hofstra plus the points. I think it's 28, and then over 132, and then just hope Hofstra scores like 50 points, 52 points, and you're guaranteeing yourself a middle. But I'll play it straight tonight. I'm gonna go under 132.5. Hofstra 18-4 under last year, 18-14 under. Houston 21-16 under. Houston, and this is another one of those traditional home games. This is not a tournament game, so Houston's back at home. They're playing the same in-your-face defense that they played last year. So give it the under 132.5. Speedy Claxton going back down to Texas. What an NBA championship with the Spurs, but I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I agree with you there. All right, I talked to Kurtz earlier. We got only 2 games on the ice. Feels like a nice money line dog parlay tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, you got 2 live dogs tonight. I think if you played both, you're going to get yourself at least a split. Pittsburgh plus 146 at home against Winnipeg. Their goaltender, Tristan Jarry, 5-1 with a 1.16 goals against average against the Winnipeg Jets. And the Penguins Last 22 meetings against the Jets at home, 20-2. I don't care how good the Jets are this year. I'll take the 22-plus odds. And then give me Anaheim plus 140 at home against Buffalo. And the Ducks, the Red Hot Ducks, have won 4 of the last 5. I'll take a stab at them at home.
Yeah.
Why not?
Pretty good goaltending in that one, too, as well. All right, Scotty, we'll see you top of the hour. Game Time Decisions continues here on the grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you this year on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Appreciate you stopping by as we've got plenty going on already here on this Friday in the NBA. It's 2 games underway right now in this edition of the NBA Cup. And, of course, we've got 1 game getting ready to tip off here. Golden State getting ready to take on the Pelicans. But the Celtics have tied it up with the Wizards, look like 22 apiece in that one. And the 76ers coming to the end of the first, they have a 4-point lead over the Brooklyn Nets, 28-24. No Joel Embiid in that one there. We also have a couple of college football games tonight, and I believe 1 underway with UTSA, Texas San Antonio up 7-3 over Temple. They were laying 17 in this game, and I'm not quite sure why they should be a 17-point favorite over anybody at this particular point. So we did take a little shot here with the Temple Owls to keep it close, and they may not do that. We'll have to wait and see. But Michigan State getting ready to come on as well, taking on Purdue, a little Big Ten action, and then a really good game coming up a little bit later tonight with San Jose State getting ready at home to take on UNLV. If there was ever an over, it feels like that game might just get there. Currently 59.5 is the total points in that one. By the way, Michigan State laying 14 points in that one. And Purdue, the total is 49, and I like the over in that one simply because there are injury concerns with the starting defensive backs of Michigan State, mostly 2 All-American studs in the back end that will not be back for this game. And this just feels like we're going to get points. And I mean a lot of points, because Purdue has shown us one thing. They are capable of scoring on weak defenses. They can't stop anybody, and I don't think they're going to stop Michigan State here tonight either. So I am looking at the over in that game there. But what a weekend it is going to be in college football here. And it's all going to start tomorrow with the noon slate of games. And buckle up. It should be an awful lot of fun, especially for the Big Ten. You got Illinois-Rutgers kicking off at noon. Rutgers 6-4 on the season. Illinois 7-3. Illinois, a top 25 team. Will Shiano take his foot off the gas here as Rutgers is now bowl eligible for the first time in who knows how long? But at the same time at noon, you're going to have Indiana taking on Ohio State. You're going to have Iowa minus their quarterbacks because they got some sort of fifth-string walk-on that's now going to be under center for Iowa taking on Maryland. That's why that line is cratered down. So it's a whole lot of Big Ten football early tomorrow. The only team, and they're not even really worth mentioning, though, is Penn State. And we'll let Dave Sherapan tell you about that. Oh, Dave, look at that. Is that a Nittany?
Hey.
Oh, what a shock. That's a Nittany Lions hat. Hey, Dave, who does Penn State play tomorrow? That's right, Minnesota.
Yeah.
In Minnesota.
Yeah. Laying a big number, too. Laying a big number. Nobody wants to see the Big Ten get 4 teams in except the Big Ten. So there's probably a lot of people rooting for Minnesota to pull the upset off. That's fine. Listen, been talking about the Big Ten for a couple of weeks now. Penn State's not going to lose. They may not cover. That's going to be one of those games. I mean, a little bit. I don't think it's going to be easy by any means, but
Right.
I don't know how many points Minnesota's going to score, Joe. That's the problem. So if they get 13, Penn State can't get 27 and win by 14, they could.
Yep.
So, and I'm a fan. I'm an alumnus. I want to see Penn State win. I don't want this to be the end of the ride. I want them to win this week, win next week at home against Maryland, and then let the committee tell them that their schedule stunk and didn't keep them in. But they're going to get in. They win 2 games, they're in the playoff. Bet them to make the playoff. I think you'll be safe if you think they're going to win both games.
I'll tell you this, Dave. Not that I bet this, but P.J. Fleck, the head coach of Minnesota, last time we saw them out, he threw up all over himself in that game against Rutgers, lost to him. But he had a bye week, and he is 11-5 when his team has 10 or more days to prepare, and that's just a regular season. Do you realize I believe he is 5-0 in bowl games, too? Obviously, you have a lot of time to prepare. So he's a guy that does the X's and O's, but I'm with you. You can only win the game if you can score. I do think defensively, it feels like an under to me, too, as well, Dave, in Minnesota. Are you leaning that way also?
Yep. I got that 27-13, 30-13,
Yep.
somewhere in that neighborhood for the final score, which is under the 45.5 that it is. It's going to be Big Ten football weekend, right? Like you mentioned a couple other games. There's going to be a lot of
3
games.
right at 12 o'clock.
I know. And I mean, obviously the marquee game, the one that has the biggest, number of eyes on it
Is Maryland, right? No?
No,
it's not.
No. I think
Okay.
it's the one in Columbus with Indiana and Ohio State, which has had line movement that is inexplicable in a game between a one-loss team and a no-loss team in November. To see it move 3 points from the opener to then bounce back up, and it's on its way back up. Ohio State at the bottom was -10. There ain't no more -10s. That ain't going to exist. So I don't know. I hope Indiana gives them a game, Joe. You know how these things go. Things go. It doesn't look good.
Well, I mean, listen, it's a lot of people who just don't want Ohio State to have any success keep harping on the fact that the starting center, who was a transfer from Alabama, got hurt during practice this week. And now they're saying, oh, now everything's shuffling all over the place. Guys, the backup center was the starter last year at center. It's not. He's been there. He's done that. Stop. Everyone, stop looking for excuses to fade Ohio State. The only thing that worries me, Dave, ain't nothing to do with the offensive line. It's got to do with the fact that, is Michigan on deck for Ohio State?
Yes.
And we all know they haven't had a whole lot of success against Michigan as of late. And, boy, you want to talk about pressure for Ryan Day. Congratulations, you beat Indiana. What happens if you lose to Michigan again? I mean, then it's all she wrote.
Joe, the look-ahead number came out today for that game. It's 23.5.
Yeah, record-breaking. Record-breaking.
Ohio State is not going to lose to Michigan. I mean, I guess they could. I remember when, Pitt ruined West Virginia's perfect season as a 28-point dog in the last, game of the year. Rivalry games are different. So I guess it could happen, but I don't know. I would rather see Ohio State lose to Indiana because that would keep the dream alive for Indiana, assure them a spot in the playoff. Probably they'll end up playing Oregon in a Big Ten championship in that situation. Yep. So that's all fun, well and good. What about Notre Dame?
I don't know.
Against Army? Like, that's the other one that is going to end bad, right? That's going to end bad.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
That was going to end bad for Army.
Well, we saw this game. Yeah, we just saw it against Navy. And so it didn't work out well for Navy. It's not going to work out well for Army. And I'll say this before you start. Well, they turned the ball over 6 times. Well, okay, why did they turn the ball over 6 times, Dave? You know why? Because every one of Notre Dame's defensive linemen was in the backfield before you could option anything. That's why. We'll have more when Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid.
Sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Quarterly, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you. He goes here on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sheripan. He'll be getting ready with Scotty Wetzel coming up top of the hour. Plenty of games and action here tonight to get ready for. A couple of NBA. We got that second Friday in the NBA Cup, Dave, underway right now. We only have 2 games in the NHL, but we do have a couple of college football games on tap here tonight. And then, of course, week 12 of the NFL season was last night. And your Pittsburgh Steelers, man, is that not a vintage Pittsburgh Steelers loss on the road, playing down to a team known as the Browns, and watching Jameis Winston do everything to give the game away? But Pittsburgh, it's just what they do under Tomlin year after year, it feels like, Dave.
Yep. I mean, Jameis, what did he say? The horses were ready and the victory came with the Lord. I mean, he brought it. He was there, and the snow helped, and everything helped. Frustrating to say the least, because I thought the end of the game was kind of mismanaged, and I thought the Steelers were somehow. I allowed myself to believe that the Steelers, despite not playing their best game and making multiple mistakes during the game, were still going to win the game. And then when they didn't, and let the penalty go, and then didn't, and didn't let them score. I mean, there was just a comedy of errors, just consecutively, that allowed the Browns. I mean, they earned it. They won. It would have helped the Steelers maintain that lead on the division. Their odds had to flip. Now they're the second choice to win the AFC North. Makes sense. Baltimore plays Monday night in a big game out in L.A. If they win that, they're obviously the favorite. Now the Steelers got a tough one coming up against Cincy. I don't know, Joe. My takeaway from that was that, maybe Jameis should have been playing earlier. And 2, if TJ Watt isn't the most impactful guy on the team for the Steelers on defense, they're not in the game. They need him to be that guy every game, which is a lot of pressure. But, man, he was not a factor at all last night.
So we learned that Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa not going for the 49ers on Sunday. I mean, Dave, am I correct? At this point in the season, here we are heading into week 12. You are what your record says you are. You're a 500 team. I don't care who plays. And that's really the way I look at it. Now, having said that, it looks like the line is ballooned up to what? Green Bay laying 5, and Green Bay has an interception problem with Jordan Love. He can't stop throwing them. 8 straight games with an interception here. It seems easy, should be easy, but is it that easy here, Dave? Are we really just laying the 5 with Green Bay?
How about laying the 2 with Green Bay, like I did 2 days ago? So now I have one of the best in-season CLV tickets that I've had in a while. I mean, you don't ever know that the game's going to move 3.5 points, and that's a lot. That is a lot, and I don't know if it's done. I think it's going to be 6, right? Somebody will come in and buy the Niners at 6, but I liked Green Bay before this, and now I'm scared because I feel like the Niners knew, and Wilson he's probably getting reps, and it's not going to be coming in cold had it would have been in the middle of the game. I think Green Bay wins the game, but I mean, we've said it many times. The expression is you're late to the party, Joe. I don't think I could advocate laying 6 or 5.5 now, right?
Nope.
24-20, something like that. The Niners have had an issue scoring with Purdy at quarterback.
Yes.
How? They're going to be able to run the ball? Most likely not. So they're going to have to score points through the air. Good luck.
Yep. Or Jordan Love's going to keep him in the game by keep throwing interceptions. That's the other problem.
True.
The one problem the Giants won't have to worry about is Danny Dimes anymore, as he has now been given his walking papers. And from everything that we're hearing, he'll clear waivers and then a team will sign him either as an audition or as a backup insurance. Tell me I'm crazy, but could the 49ers use him?
I think, yeah.
Brandon Allen?
I mean, that's a very good case. Like, there's a couple teams I think that could use him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the Niners probably, it's been the week before, would have said, yeah, you know what? Let's talk. Come on over here.
Yep.
And we'll see what we can do. Do you think he ends up on an NFL roster like next week?
I think if it's a contender. I don't think if it's an audition, I don't think it matters to him one way or the other, right? Why go get killed behind a team that, he already had that. He left that with the Giants. But I do think if somebody like Minnesota picked up the phone and said, hey, listen, we want we want to bring you on here, or anybody with a coach, you know what I mean? Anybody with a coach we can trust. But I think Shanahan's interesting. I don't think the Raiders make any sense, although there's a lot of hype around there. They already have enough quarterbacks. They have no idea whether they can play or not. But I do think the 49ers, I think Minnesota is interesting. And why not the Rams? Quite honestly, in case Stafford goes down, what happens?
Another good point. Yeah. Wow. I hadn't even considered that. Do you have an AFC team that he might go to? I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Don't say it. Do not say it. Nope. Do not bring it up.
I heard it.
Nope.
I heard it.
Nope. Nope. I didn't hear it. I did not hear it.
You don't even have to move.
Jets
you
are
can
dead.
go right to the
Stop
Jets.
it. Nope. Don't want to hear it anymore about the Jets. But it'll be interesting. I do think he'll be on the roster if a contender comes out and says, hey, we need some insurance. And there's a few of them that absolutely do. All right, we'll get a couple of best bets on the way out as Game Time Decisions wraps up next here on the Grid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Quarterly, I missed you pinching your own cheek. As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you. Goes here on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the Sports Grid Network. Joe Raineri alongside Dave Sherapan. He'll be taking over here in just a few minutes with Scotty Wetzel for In-Game Live. Plenty of action here tonight, Dave, including, and listen, I've talked to George Kurtz. I talked to Scotty Wetzel earlier. Everybody likes your Pittsburgh Penguins at home against Winnipeg as a dog. Are you in that camp?
Nope, not at all. The
so.
Jets are the best team. The Jets are the best team in the league on the money line, and the Penguins just give up so many odd man rushes. The Penguins give up so many shots. Jari's the goalie tonight. They're down 1-0 after the first period. If he doesn't win the game, basically 2-1, then they're not going to win. That's it. I think if they get caught up, so far the game's playing to the under. The in-game is down to 5.5 with the juice under. So that makes sense. If there's no goal scored in the first 5 minutes, it'll go to 4.5. Probably be an overplay. The Jets are getting 3 goals tonight. There's no question.
Yeah.
And maybe 4. 4-1 possible final, 4-2 maybe. But I like the Jets. I did like the Ducks, though. That game's coming up later. Ducks have won three in a row, I think it is, and then 4 of the last 5. Buffalo already out west, lost the first game of this trip. So I haven't confirmed the goalies yet, which I always like to tell people, do that before you play it, so you're not surprised with like the Zamboni driver, in case something happened. A couple times the Zamboni driver has started an NHL game. We don't need that. But, yeah, I think the Ducks are live in the hockey.
Yeah, they've been playing much better as of late here. It does feel like an under, too, as both goalies there have been tough to get behind. So we got some NHL action for you. Just 2 games here tonight. Dave will take it over there. Plenty of college hoops coming up tonight, Dave, and, of course, a few more college football games, plus the NBA.
Yep.
Get out of here. Were you shocked Ohtani and Judge won the MVP? Shocked? I, for one, was totally taken by surprise. I had no idea that is where the voting would have landed. Shocker.
No. And good for everyone that had them both. And it comes out of your pending in your accounts. You don't have to keep staring at that. When am I getting paid? When am I getting paid? Congratulations to both. Not shocking at all. Shocked tonight if the Pelicans beat the Warriors. That Joe, would be shocking.
That's not going to happen either. But congratulations tying up that money for 10 months on a 2-to-1 future bet. Fantastic. All right, Dave, get out of here. You and Scotty Wetzel taking over here in just a couple of minutes. Quick update. The Sixers, I guess they don't need Embiid, at least a bit Brooklyn right now. 51-38 there. 3 minutes ago in the break before the half. You got the Celtics have cut a 10-point deficit that they were in to 4. It's 45-41 right now there. They got about 4 minutes ago. And the Warriors have now taken the lead over the Pelicans 4 minutes ago in the first quarter there. It's 26-25. We got the Hawks, Bulls, Pacers, and Bucks coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, as well as the Blazers and the Rockets. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe San Antonio, UTSA, with a 80-yard touchdown run or something along those lines to take a 14-3 lead over Temple right now. 10 minutes ago, still in the first half there. Something tells me more points are coming. We also have college basketball games tonight getting ready to tip off here. And I love this Iowa game. Iowa taking on Utah State in a game that might be the most entertaining of the night, given the fact that both these teams love to fly up and down the court. Both of them will play with tempo. And I definitely think Iowa at a pretty decent price might be worth a play here tonight with an opportunity to win that game outright in a neutral site game. That game is coming up here in just a few minutes. Iowa -2.5. The total 168.5. And can I tell you, I don't think it's enough. I think we're going to get tons of points in that one. But the good news is Scotty Wetzel, Dave Sherapan, they're coming right up here in game live, coming your way next. Don't go anywhere. Game Time Decisions will be back tomorrow. Enjoy the night. We'll see you again soon.
The sharpest.
You say this is a smash. I'm going to run out and smash my button while you talk about